that Tammy's wants are authority. But I know you would have found it inside the tree. Inside the tree. Estuary. I live in a houseboat on an estuary. Which is handy for my work when that Thames wants authority. But I know you would have found it inside the tree. Inside the tree. Face the challenge of the champions. Do you have the courage of a hero? Do you have the will and the skill?
Hi, everybody. Hello. Hi, Jay.
Hi.
What's going on? John's abandoned us. Well, it's just
what
us
happened
now.
to John?
How's it going? You well?
Yes. How are you, Chris?
I'm very well. I just finished doing an online show that requires a lot of my brain power. And so honestly, I'm a bit mentally crushed. And so I'm so glad you're here. I was really hoping we'd have a guest because I don't think I could carry half of the show today.
Oh boy.
Well, you only have to carry a third of it, so I'm here to help.
If that.
I'm just excited that Chris and Jay, have you guys met? Did you guys meet in Edinburgh in 2019, or is it just Chris is being a nice man?
Nope.
I'm just a nice man.
It's being a genial co-host.
Well, that's very exciting. Jay, how are you? Welcome aboard to the program, Jay Light.
I'm good. I'm happy to be here. It's very, very nice. I just made a cup of tea. I have to record audiobook chapters after this, so I got to make sure I've got a sultry voice ready to go.
What is the book you're working on? What is tell us about this? What an amazing gig you've got going for yourself.
Oh my goodness. All right. So I'm
hang on. I assumed right there because Jay Light, for those of you just joining the chat, welcome aboard, everybody. Jay Light is a very funny comedian based in Los Angeles. You may know him as being one of the people behind Roast Battles, I think, as being, one of the cool people you'll find hanging out at the Comedy Store.
Ooh.
Also, yeah. And I'll tell you, that's a big divide. The Comedy Store either goes with people that just drop random shit while they're on the internet, or it's either like super cool, amazing, fun people, literal awful time. Like there's no that guy's all right. There's none of that. Jay, am I wrong?
You're 100% correct. You are spot on.
Yeah,
I'm glad I'm on that side of the scale.
Of course. But I assumed for a second that Jay was trying to make up some lost income by reading books for audible.com, but that's very rude. He might have written a book and have a book deal and he's recording chapters for his own book.
Nope, it's the first one.
Yeah.
Reading romance novels. I'm reading 2 trilogies right now, and I'm on the final book of the first trilogy. And it's a weird style of romance novel where there's a bullying element to it. I guess this is a separate genre of romance novel that I've never known about before called the
Can you explain to me the bullying element of it? I'm utterly fascinated. This is one of the benefits.
John, I want you to guess before he explains it. What do you think the bullying is?
Oh man, I don't know. It's got to be guy to girl. There's no way it's girl to guy.
So I have a theory because there's this new anti-feminist thing that's going on within women where it's like, I want my man to treat me like shit and I want to be stuck in the kitchen. we peaked in the 50s. And so I think it's one of those. I think it's a throwback, like Don Draper is the protagonist.
Oh,
Interesting.
I'm changing my guess just to be contrarian. It's the woman bullying the man because he has a small nose-like penis. And the entire trilogy is about that man slowly committing suicide because of his nose-like penis.
Just a lot of chapters with a head in an oven. That's the entire thing.
Yeah. There's whole chapters of him just Googling suicide and realizing that only sends you to suicide prevention and not just different lists of ways to commit suicide, which is something, by the way, that I was once sat in a green room and a comedian just offhandedly told me that. And I've never in my life more been like, well, I know of the two of us, which one of us have tried to commit suicide. Like, I now know.
I mean, if you're wishy-washy enough on committing suicide that you have to Google a list of ways to do it, then you weren't really going to commit suicide in the first place. You have some figuring out to do. There's very easy answers.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but are they? I don't want to get. Let's not get sidetracked. But what do you think we're doing here? But are they really that? Like, it's, we know the macro of the acts, but there's micro details. Like, you could take pills, but a lot of the pills will just make you throw up. J-Light. I'm just saying.
But there's like you don't cross the tracks, you go along the tracks. I think we all know the saying.
The old Heaven Hospital move. Yes, of course.
That's right. You've got the wait a minute. Am I about to give out a bunch of ways to kill yourself?
I mean, I just realized
is that a good idea?
We were literally we're not just doing 3 different versions of white men give advice about offing themselves. Oh, hello, Carolyn. Carolyn Clean popping in. Suicide.
Carolyn, pleasure. Good to see you as always.
Okay, so you are both wrong, by the way, on the bullying aspect.
Good.
Okay.
So the premise of the trilogy is it's a guy. There's 2 main characters. There's the guy and the girl, and it's dual perspective. So every chapter alternates between the guy and the girl. It's like Game of Thrones in that way, and that's the only way it's like Game of Thrones.
I was hoping you were going to say they were related, and I was like, I'm hooked. I'm in.
I was hoping you were going to say another pregnant woman got stabbed, because that doesn't stop just being a thing that happened in both television and literature.
That show went downhill, but that was a fucking moment. We all know where we were when the Red Wedding occurred.
That's one of the only episodes of Game of Thrones I've ever seen. I've seen that episode, and I saw the one with the big, the green fire and the ship, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. I mean, those are both great moments. I mean, and I think about this every time the Red Wedding is brought up, which is friend of mine and Chris's, and probably Jay's if they ever met, Kai Humphreys, found out a couple of people were like spoiling the Red Wedding for people, and he'd read all of the books, so he just started messaging them all the spoilers for the rest of the series up until the end. Oh. And supposedly he said to one of them, Jon Snow dies because you're a cunt.
Oh man.
Okay, so you explain. So it's
so it's a guy and a girl, the college students.
No.
And the girl rushes a sorority.
Pause.
Where yes.
Is it a real
You're
college?
never going to get through this.
I have so many questions. What do you think? We have to kill 2 hours. Or however long Jay stays, then we kill the rest of it. Is it a real college, fictitious college?
It's a real college. As far as I can tell, fictitious sorority. But also the author did not do enough research to know where the college is. Like, the college is Cornell.
Okay.
But at some point, she mentions something having to do with Maine law. Like, you maybe just didn't fully do your research.
Because Cornell's not in Maine.
Yeah. Right. Cornell is in Ithaca, New York.
Oh yeah, so it's not even close to Maine.
No.
Well, maybe that's like a trick that she put in where she's like, listen, if you're not in it for the juices, then I don't want you reading my fucking book. All right. So I'm going to get a couple geography things wrong early on, weed out the chaff.
Well, this is the other downside of the book is, so for the first 2 books of the trilogy, there's no sex and very little references to sex. It's mostly just this guy getting bullied by the sorority sisters because he used to date one of the sorority girls. And now they're mad because there's some stuff in there, spoilery stuff about like
We're not going to read it.
lying.
We're not going to read it.
Listen,
Jay, I love you so much that you think that anyone here is going. Yeah.
listen. Carolyn says it
Carolyn,
sounds like
did
it's
you
her kind of book.
I want to explain who Carolyn is
Carolyn.
in a second. So Carolyn Clean was someone who found my Facebook group where this is broadcast to as well from me being on America's Got Talent. And then she wrote, "There's too much swearing." She wrote that one thing. And then one of the absolute lunatics who watches us every day made a fake Twitch account for Caroline Clean, and they just pop in. Now, suspects involve Chris did it, Baldy did it, Alex Watson did it, or D-Carp did it. Those are the four. Those are my four guesses.
Those are 4 solid guesses.
So
I
like that. I think you're involved.
I would love to be involved, but I was so amazed. I thought that she'd made it onto Twitch. I thought she was so angry at the level of swearing that we did that she set up a whole new account so she could fucking troll us.
My alt is Jav's mom for now. Well,
Yeah. Nice.
I mean, what a fucking look at this fucking background right here. Oh man, it's me as Jimmy the janitor.
How did he do that?
I mean, you don't fuck with Baldy.
Jesus.
So how are you finding reading those books? Does it make you want to read more?
Well, I'm listening to more audiobooks to try and become more up to date with. Oh my God, look at that! Look at all those chins.
You like that? You like me? That was me. That would be me when I would be pledging with that sorority.
He was a big softie, and I don't mean his personality.
Yeah. I was kind of dickish, actually.
Battle.
It's from Roast Battles, guys. Also, there's going to be a Roast Battles in Canada, Jay. I just want to say,
there is?
Only in Canada would they start that program a solid 6 years into it being like a thing. Like all of the other versions of it on television, no longer on TV, haven't been for 2 years. Now is time for Canada to jump on that train.
Honestly, though, great time to do it. The Americans didn't give a shit about Roast Battle in the end, but it's still going hard in the UK. It's going, they got Roast Battle, I think Mexico is still on. Roast Battle Germany is still on, as far as I know. And,
I bet that one's got to be harsh. I bet the German one is fucking harsh.
Exactly. Yeah. You don't like poop in your mouth, Hans.
I spoke to your son, your terrible father.
Yeah.
He is
it's so fucking literal. I've noticed that you were not you didn't offer me tea one Wednesday when I came over to your house, and that means you are a loser. What was I going to say?
I'm listening to more audiobooks now to hear what other narrators sound like, because there's a whole industry that I didn't even think about. My only exposure to audiobooks really before this was listening to like the Harry Potter books when I was a child.
Yeah, those are read by Stephen Fry, and they're phenomenal. Also, the idea that you could be a child. How old are you? How much younger are you than me, Jay?
I turned 30 this year.
Oh, that's
last year. I'm turning 31 in August.
That's a real kick in the chops. I'll tell you that much for old John Hastings.
By the way, fun fact about the Stephen Fry audiobooks. I learned this a little while ago. In the US, the Harry Potter audiobooks are not read by Stephen Fry.
Who got it? Who got the gig?
Some other British guy. I never knew that Stephen Fry did the Harry Potter audiobooks, and then somebody was talking to them about audiobooks this week. And she was like, yeah, the British versions are way better because Stephen Fry did the narration for him. And I was like, how come America did not get this?
Wow.
I bet you it's because he doesn't have an American accent. I bet you that's what it is.
But they gave it to another British person.
Yeah, they gave it to another British guy.
Wait, what are you talking about? So they literally got a.
You know what I bet it is? He's not as big of a star in the States as he is here. I'm in the UK, by the way. And so maybe his fee, the American Audible were like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
I'm not paying him this much. Whereas British, they didn't blink. And so they paid some other guy like minimums.
I mean, I can't believe the chat has gone mad, and that 3 people are like, it's Jim Dale from the Carry On films. I don't know if it is Jim Dale, but
that guy definitely doesn't ask for the same amount of money as
if it is a guy named Jim Dale, Harry. Oh my God, they weren't lying. I thought they were fucking with us. It is Jim Dale. Oh, you got to fucking check out this fucking.
I'm gonna look this guy up.
I'm gonna bring up Dora. I'm bringing up a fucking photo of him right now. Oh, he looks like a fucking. Look at this fucking stunt casted asshole.
It's not like he took a job away from Stephen Fry, John.
Look at him.
Oh wow!
Oh man. Yeah, that man. Look at that! Look at that chin on the face headshot.
Classic.
I don't like that.
Oh yeah.
Whoa, that freaks me out. I don't like that many of the same picture of the same guy.
Well,
That now looks like clones.
I accidentally imaged, like, look at this. Guy's still a drinker too. You can tell.
Oh yeah, 100%. You can tell he's got the redness in the cheeks, the burst capillaries.
Yeah, the burst capillaries immediately came to mind.
Oh, it's also just this big honking fucking alcohol nose on his stupid dumb head. Look at this fucking thing. That's mostly vodka. Dude, I'm fucking.
You could probably squeeze that out like a dish rag at the end of the night.
Oh yeah, he just fucking hides a bunch of fucking. Do you know what the Carry On films are, Jay? You're an American?
I've never heard of these.
It's like British people like them, which is already you're in real trouble. Because here's the thing with all of the British media you're aware of as an American, like is the really good stuff. They still they have a whole other media landscape over there that we just never heard about because it's just like.
Because it's not your Great British Bake Offs or your Taskmasters or your Great Pottery Throwdowns. Yeah.
What the hell is Great? Is Great Pottery Throwdown something you just made up, or is that a real thing?
No, that's a real thing. It's on HBO Max.
It's on HBO
in the US. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. There's no sound on that.
Right now.
There's no sound on that.
Truthfully, I am too, but
people love it.
It's a fun show.
Yeah.
What, Great British Bake Off?
All of them.
Great Pottery Throwdown
is phenomenal.
I like Baldy's summation. Great Pottery Throwdown.
Yeah,
as a guy with bad hair who cries at pottery.
He cries every episode, and he wears a suit, and his hair. He has the worst comb over of all time.
Does he actually cry every time?
Yes.
Oh, that's phenomenal.
Every episode, he is moved to tears by somebody's pottery, including toilets and sinks.
Wow.
Can you hear this?
Yes.
Like people talk about this with such fucking reverence.
To miss, it takes you right along the Mediterranean with a right sunny kind of a captain and a ripe old lot for a crew.
What?
Your agreement for a policy of unremitting quasi-Teutonic organization.
Who is that?
He means fingers out.
I mean, he's literally just he's the character in all these movies, which is like they got to have a guy who's gay but not gay.
Was it Paul Lynde?
Was it?
Kenneth Williams. Thank you, Kenneth Williams. Look at how hilarious this is.
Look, there's
it's
an
got
old
fun on all decks.
Yeah.
Oh, right in the mouth.
Oh, whoopsie.
Yes.
I guarantee these people were openly saying the N-word on set. I mean, I like how Jay's just gone.
Yeah,
he had to open. I had to get more light on me. I realized how poorly lit I was looking.
Come on, buddy. Do not worry. You can fucking do whatever you want technically on this thing. My God. Chris is actively drinking. I might get brutally stoned in about 10 minutes. It's just you gotta roll with the punches, kid.
It's the middle of the night. I'm gonna be smoking cigarettes out of the window pretty soon.
Yeah. Hey, there you go. Yeah, wait, Chris, what time is it over there? What's the time difference?
It's 10:20.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
Ooh, boy.
You just missed the quintessential Carry On scene where a man chases a woman around a room.
Yeah. Basically, it's really weird how the Me Too movement took some men, and I'm one of them, by surprise. When you look back on media, you're like, man, it was just the propaganda was everywhere.
Yeah. It was all over the place.
Like if you watch I love the Marx Brothers. If you watch those movies, it's three brothers just calling an old blonde woman a dum-dum for 3 hours, and then they just play a harp and a piano.
She is pretty dumb, though, to be fair. That dumb idiot.
She's a braying idiot and doesn't know how to order dinner. When she gets told in Duck Soup to storm out in a minute and a huff is one of the why don't you leave in a minute and a huff? So fucking stupid. Like that Charlie Chaplin eats my ass by choice in terms of being good at comedy. The Marx Brothers fucking rule.
The Marx Brothers were incredible, but Charlie Chaplin, Groucho Marx, by his own I've forgotten all my words. I just did verses. Admission. Thank you so much, Jay. That's why you're here, buddy. You're fucking carrying the show. Yeah, by his own admission.
Carrying us on, is he?
Hey. Groucho Marx said Charlie Chaplin's the funniest person he's ever seen in his life. He said the first time in his autobiography, Groucho and Me, which is a great read. He said that when they were in Winnipeg the first time that he saw Charlie Chaplin, and they had a day off, everyone else wanted to go gambling, so he pretended to be sick because he just didn't want to spend the day with his fucking brothers. And he went for a walk, heard the loudest laughter he's ever heard in his life, went into a bar, and there was a man on stage spraying a fountain of crackers into the air and throwing oranges at a soprano. And Groucho said, and I knew I was looking at a genius.
I mean, you can't beat that. That's a lot of brain power it takes to come up with doing that on stage.
And to make it laugh,
in a room.
that's, I mean, if you make it funny, then you're amazing. You're
Here's
throwing
what I'll
oranges
say.
at a soprano and spitting crackers and killing? Come on.
Oof.
Here's what I'll say. I disagree entirely, and here's why. Groucho can like Charlie Chaplin. When have you been watching a Charlie Chaplin movie or a clip and gone, this is very funny?
Oh, that's not fair. You don't really laugh at most old things.
But yeah, but you laugh. I laugh. You do laugh at the Marx Brothers. The Marx Brothers will get you. Whatever. Thank you,
the Marx
Baldy.
Brothers will get you. The Marx Brothers will get you.
Buster Keaton, Chaplin. And also Buster Keaton.
Better Tumblr, not as good an actor.
Buster Keaton's fine, by the way. He's a little fucking up himself. If I want to fucking be dismissed by a clown, I'll fucking read an interview with that fucking Irish fellow who wrote Waiting for Godot.
You'll go talk to Jeff, won't you?
I certainly will. I'll go watch more of these art films.
Meet up with his playful number one. Fancy dressing up like this is
What the hell? What is this?
Man.
Like this is supposed to sell me on the movie, and already I'm like, I don't even. What cruise ship / apartment are they living in?
on our Ken.
Well, my father, he breeds the famous fighting bulls, you know. Every year, 50,000 bulls he sends off by ship to South America. That's an awful lot of bull.
The ship's doctor is Kenneth Connor.
That's
Oh,
innuendo right there.
Wow.
Look at this pedophile right here. Look at this fucking giant evil head on him too. My God.
He looks
He
like
looks-
what's the name of the guy from Get Out?
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Bradley Whitford.
Bradley Whitford. I almost said
Yeah.
Bradley Cooper, but that's not it. But he does
Yeah.
kind of look a little bit like Bradley Cooper too. He looks like a Bradley Whitford, Bradley Cooper hybrid.
Yeah.
He looks like he's on he looks like Bradley Whitford specifically in Billy Madison.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who was he in Billy Madison?
He's the
He
bad guy in
Yeah,
Billy
he's the bad
Madison.
guy.
That's right. Holy
He's
shit.
the other guy who works for his dad's company.
That's right. God damn.
I know we're all supposed to hate Adam Sandler, but his stand-up special and those two, Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison,
God.
are literally they're like I watched Billy Madison in the height of broken elbow, shoulder, depressed time. Do you remember how different types of funny that movie is?
Oh yeah.
It's so great.
Billy Madison is a fantastic movie. It's so
I
funny.
completely forgot Steve Buscemi shows up and shoots that guy in the ass at one point.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Man, I'm
It-
glad I called that guy. Like, come on.
No, that movie's great. One year for Halloween, I went as the Penguin, and a buddy of mine was Billy Madison.
Oh,
Oh, nice.
It was great. It was a great duo costume.
Nice.
And he bought me because I was going to visit New York for Halloween and visit some friends, and I had no idea for a costume because I don't like Halloween. And he was like, "I'm going to be Billy Madison. I will buy you this penguin suit." And I kept a penguin costume for like 4 years. It was great.
Perfect.
what do you not like about Halloween? I'm intrigued.
I don't like the. You know what it is I don't like going out to like big gatherings. You know, like
Yeah.
West Hollywood Halloween really
This is-
ruined Halloween for me because I was like, this is a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, LA does Halloween way too intense. Like LA does it not like it's way more New Year's Eve in this town than it is
really?
anywhere else.
A city full of performers takes Halloween too seriously? I'm
Like,
fucking
but-
shocked.
But it's the time where all of the fucking dance students and musical theater
Yeah.
majors really fucking
Not just performers, Chris, narcissists also.
Yeah.
Who want- yeah.
Jay makes a great point. Yeah, you're not counting all the managers and agents who are failed performers who've gone on to have millions of
Mhm.
dollars to spend on an elaborate costume.
Yeah. The Halloween that soured me on Halloween forever. I went out with some friends, and one of them was dressed as Ned Flanders from The Simpsons, and he had totally painted his body with horrible yellow grease paint. And then he was blackout drunk. And we got separated from our group. Our phones died. And we both I had to babysit him. I was stone cold sober.
I was about to say you're a sober guy. Like
well, this was before I even like sobered up. So I had tried to get drunk and get on his level, and I couldn't because he was ruining my buds so bad. And there's no one who's going to let you or a blackout drunk Ned Flanders borrow their phone at 2 a.m. to try and contact your friends and figure out where they are. As I learned over the course of half an hour trying to figure out what the fuck we were going to do.
But fuck.
Wait, did you know your friend's numbers?
He knew his girlfriend's phone number.
Okay.
But that's the part, because I didn't know anyone's phone numbers.
Of course.
But he was the only person who had contact. But no one trusts blackout drunk Ned Flanders with anything.
Stupid, sexy blackout drunk Flanders.
Well, here's those. Here's the thing. Also, was this in West Hollywood? Were you in like the height of it? That weird street that I never like. You're like on that weird like where
on Santa Monica.
Yeah.
Okay,
so for those of you
right
who
at
don't,
the curve where it goes down past La Cienega.
Gotcha. So if you don't live in Los Angeles, West Hollywood is the part of Hollywood that's in the western area, and during it used to be the gay village of Los Angeles. It was the gayborhood, and as a result of that, over Halloween times, it still sort of goes back to that. And like really leans into Halloween. But now what happens is they close all the streets and people just misbehave. It's essentially exactly the same thing. It's like narcissistic St. Patrick's Day, but also because it's LA, what's really weird is it starts crazy early because this town is like everyone heads home for 11. So it's also like dusk and there's like someone who works at the mailroom at CAA is throwing up on a Mini Cooper and like sexy Ned Flanders is already blacked out. Like people go hard in the paint quick.
Yes, hard in the yellow grease paint all over their body.
How did that story end? How did you find anyone?
We just walked all the way back to the apartment where we were beginning the night at, which was it's like not in the grand scheme of things all that long of a walk. It's like a mile, maybe a mile and a half. It's totally fine.
But with a blackout.
But with a blackout guy who you're babysitting, and it's a full, the streets at that point, it was still late, but everybody was walking in the same direction as us at that point. So, you got foot traffic that's clogging up the roads. So it took probably about an hour as opposed to like half an hour.
Were you just going west on Santa Monica?
Going east. Yeah. Basically you start out, you go west, you go to the big party zone where all the action is. And then you just walk back.
And is it like the big party zone? I never actually went to West Hollywood for Halloween. I went to the comedians Halloween party at some bar in Silver Lake in 2018 or 19. The one that we could go to before it all shut down.
I mean, I don't even know if I know what that is because that's literally how averse I am to Halloween. Is I do not go out on Halloween basically ever.
2018 it was the El Cid Halloween party. I remember I had one beer and then it was like one of those things where it's like, if you guys like Jay, you're a bit younger, so you're going to start having these moments. But I noticed them in my 30s, which is that like we've been coming to the same party for 16 years and in no way is that sad kind of moment. I was like having that in that, like, I'm like, oh, I've been at these parties before where I don't really know anyone and all my I came here with two friends. They are like two separate groups of friends. I am too tired to get to know anyone. I am going to leave as opposed to like, just like I used to get super drunk and try and like make friends. It's like, you're not going to make friends. Just go home. You'll have a better time.
I've got friends.
Yeah.
That's
I don't have time to make new friends or the energy. I'm good.
Oh yeah. And it's also like, it's the funny like lie of Los Angeles comedy is they'll always be like, you got to hang out, just hang out, just hang out. You got to hang out. And what it gives you this false impression, like you got to make friends to make it in the city. And what it basically is just what they're actually saying is LA is filled with two things. And that's psychos and people that just demand a spot, but won't ever support your show. So when they say hang out, they just mean go to the show one time because they're desperate for audience. And then they'll be nice to you because they've been like, oh, that guy took us down to come to my show.
Right.
Yeah, it's not
Wow.
become friends with people that work at the. There's so many psychos.
That's
It's
a pro
bad.
tip. That's a pro ass
That's
tip
a
right
huge
there.
pro tip.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah, there's certain parties once you're in LA long enough that you'll figure out like, oh, I should not go to this party even though I have been invited to this party because I will have a horrible time. I've had that happen to me at a Halloween party in LA, but even before, even after all this bad Halloween stuff.
Did your amount of parties I don't want to go to, did that go up when you became sober, or did it go down?
It changed. It's probably about the net the same, but it's because I go to more parties, but I stay at them for less amount of time. Like now my party tolerance is like, I will go to this place for an hour. And if it sucks after an hour, I'm going to leave. If it's cool, I might stay for another hour or two, perhaps.
Yeah.
But I just I don't have to deal with the bullshit of like, oh, well, this party sucks. I guess I'm just going to, let's get drunk. Let's just ride it out.
I've never understood that strategy. And listen, I still can drink. I choose to less and less at these at parties too. Like I'll have one wine and then be like, I'm just going to leave. It's also like this is also, I'm sure you know this being sober, Jay and Chris, you were a bartender, and it's the same conclusion of it's not going to get more fun. More fun doesn't exist.
That's actually, I disagree with that. It doesn't happen often, but sometimes as the party goes on, people find the same wavelength and then it suddenly becomes fun, or a new element is put in. A cop shows up.
Let me throw
some
this
of
out
you got away with it.
Party, no. Bar, yes.
Good.
Bar can shift at any time. Party at a certain point,
At a certain point, but often I find that's later than because when I was younger, I used to wait because I would wait for that moment. I was like, something's in the air here. It sucks now, but something's coming. And I had the energy and the curiosity to find out what it was going to be. And now I have neither.
Yeah.
And so I just leave. But yeah, I remember some nights that started out fucking brutal and became amazing because someone brought a dog. And it wasn't the dog that was amazing. It just changed something in our minds. We went, oh, we're having fun now. Great. Now it's a party. So I
Did someone actually
disagree.
one time bring a dog?
Yeah. It happens sometimes. One guy brought a ferret. That party got worse.
Yeah,
that's a bad omen. I can see bringing it. John, I can't believe you've been to parties in LA at houses and people haven't brought dogs. That's a classic.
Oh,
LA
people have brought dogs, and people bring LA. I'm gonna say this: I like I don't like a dog in an office. I know I'm a monster, and I love dogs more than any dog lover loves a dog. Like I love them. I don't like a dog in the office because I'm like, if I'm working here, I'm not getting any work done. I'm just thinking, can I play with your dog? Do you know what I mean?
That's totally fair.
And I've been to
jealous. Sorry, do you feel jealous of the person that the dog is paying attention to? You're like,
I feel jealous. I don't own a dog.
Fucking Sarah, this is bull. She's had that dog for an hour.
Sarah, you cannot get his leg going. Sarah, you cannot get his leg going. We all know I can get his leg going.
Sarah, come here.
Sarah. Sarah's dog's friend Sarah, come here. But it's also you go to casting, you go to commercial castings in this town, and there'll be 8 Lopso-Opsos and a Labradoodle just fucking wandering from office to office. I've had them sat. This was actually in Toronto. There was a dog in the room where the commercial casting was happening, and all I could think was what if I scare this dog and the dog barks? What happens then, sirs?
Just gotta
sounds like
record.
That's a genuine reaction. That shit's going in. We're keeping that. This is Judd Apatow shit. We're not.
Mr. Steve Mooney. By the way, Jay, this will blow your mind. Halloween isn't really a thing in Europe where a lot of people are watching this from.
Oh, thank God.
You would love it. You would love it.
I would love it. I got to get over there for a Halloween.
It's only Christmas. They only care about Christmas.
You say that, but
that's pretty much all I care about.
They still throw parties at Halloween. Their kids just don't go trick or treating. So it's all the pricks you'd have to hang out with none of the joy. There's none of the playful joy.
You can just be like, "There's no Halloween here. Go fuck yourself."
I'll figure out a plan. Yeah, I worked in an office once where it was I worked on MasterChef and somebody brought a dog in, and the next day immediately there was a sign up that was plastered several places around the office that said, "We work on a fucking food show. You cannot bring a dog here. It is unsanitary." and
And
nobody ever brought it up again.
How did they take that? I feel like tears followed that.
They had their tail between their legs for sure.
Oh,
They're
hell!
Hey,
I'm so excited that you brought up MasterChef because I wasn't sure if I was allowed to talk about it, but I find it so fascinating you worked on that television show. Like I love it so much every day.
Oh, I'm so glad you do. It's one of the greatest shows on television, I think. I don't say that just because I work on it. I genuinely love the way MasterChef plays out. It's got a great arc to it.
My only thing that bugs me about MasterChef is I just don't like that they have that second level where they look down on the other contestants. But that's just me because if I like had made my souffle badly, the last thing I want is fucking Deborah and Michael leaning over a balcony, just like John. But the drama of it during the actual show, I fucking love it so fucking much. Chris, I assume you haven't watched it. You're too busy reading.
never seen it. Never seen it.
Do you know the premise of it, Chris?
Do you know the premise?
Yeah, there's a chef and you have to kill him, and if you kill him, you get his kitchen.
Yeah.
Then you're the master of chefs. Yeah, I get it. Yeah,
but no one's been able to kill Gordon Ramsay, and that's why he's the host of the show.
He's unkillable.
Yeah,
I met that guy. He's very charming.
He's super charming.
Super charming, and that's why no one's able to kill him, because he charms you, and then you smile, and then he fucking gets you between the ribs.
He's Highlander for chefs.
Yeah.
It's insane. Gordon Ramsay
perfect because he's Scottish.
Yeah. Gordon Ramsay's also been famous for like 20 years. Isn't that crazy? Like Simon Cowell's been famous for 20 years. That like weird spat where like America was like, here's what we want on TV. A British guy yelling at someone. Get it done. And then they were like, Simon, Gordon, let's go.
That and Weakest Link lady. What was her name? Anne something.
Oh, phenomenal. But
she was Weakest Link.
Yeah, and Weakest Link. It's a hyphenated. She didn't want to only take her husband's name. She's a very powerful woman.
Anne Robinson.
Robinson, that's it.
Thank you,
which
Alex
is
for that.
Greek for Weakest Link, as we all know.
It's why the Swiss Family Robinson is a very different movie there. It's just the story of a family drowning.
Yeah, one at a time.
Yeah, no, all together. So they were all the weakest link. So when you say you wrote for MasterChef, what does that actually entail? Because it's not the most comedically driven show. There'll be jokes, but it's not like Gordon Ramsay's doing a tight 5 off the top.
Exactly. And also Gordon, by the way, just as people to write for, Gordon never needs any actual jokes written for him because Gordon just fucking gets it on his own. He's just quick. He's been working in television for so long. He's quick. He knows how to do it right.
I mean, also, if you ever want a real fucking thrill, by the way, please do yourself a favor and watch the TV show where Gordon Ramsay comes from. Ramsay's Boiling Point is because you are literally watching a guy who went on to be a very competent broadcaster. In Boiling Point, he goes there's a lot of talk about how he's a football player. So Baldy is Scottish. You do know Gordon Ramsay was a professional Scottish football player or soccer player, Jay. Briefly. For
a hot second, yes. I knew that, and then he had an injury and he left.
Yeah, fascinating. You got to watch it because it's so insane. That Ramsay's boy. Go ahead, Chris. What are you laughing?
I'm just like Baldy just can't. No, he wasn't.
He was. I got in trouble in grade 3 for people saying you are the weakest link goodbye when they got stuff wrong. Does he mention being a football? Wait, so he wasn't actually a football player? He's like talked about it all the time.
He was in school. He wasn't
professional. I thought he made it onto like Rangers or Celtic or something like that.
No, he's one of those guys that said I could have made it, but you know.
I mean, he could have. He literally went into doing this with a knife, and now has 11 television shows. Gordon Ramsay was gonna win. Like Gordon, you know what I mean? You know, one of those people where you're like, oh, that shiny, beautiful man. Yeah, he'll be fine. So basically what you do is you wrote the actual dialogue for the show, which I always find very fascinating. Yeah.
The way it's written is all of the stuff that happens. The way the show's structured, Chris, is they have the 3 judges. Gordon's one of them. Then they have Joe Bastianich and Aaron Sanchez for the most recent seasons. And they all come out. They talk to the contestants. They say, this is what you're going to cook today. This is how long you have to do it. Go. All of that stuff is written in advance. Then everything after that is just up in the air. Occasionally I'm asked to write stuff on the fly at the very end of an episode, Like we had an episode. There's this one guy in the first season I wrote for. His name was Suba, and he was always on like the verge of washing out and getting eliminated. He was very sloppy in the kitchen. His food looked terrible, but it tasted good, so he always managed to scrape by the skin of his teeth. And there was one episode where it was him and another guy up for elimination. They had me at the very last second. They're like, all right, we need you to write a fake out where it's going to sound like we're getting rid of Suba, but we change our mind at the last minute and give it to this other guy. And I was like, great, I can do that. So occasionally you get stuff like that, but most of the time it's pretty boilerplate, cut and dry. Oh, you're going to be making a bread bowl soup. Oh, you're going to be making a cake. Oh, you have to feed these NASCAR race car drivers. And you have to do it in an hour.
I mean,
so it's not the most challenging writing job you've ever had.
No, not by any means. But it's the most delicious writing job I've ever had because you get to eat all the food.
Nice. After Gordon Ramsay's dipped his fucking fat finger in it.
Yeah.
Here, Jay, eat it. Let me watch you eat my finger.
I don't know what it is about fucking cooking competition shows. I love them. I love it so much because it's just like it's watching people's dreams, but also I know they got another gig, so they'll be fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they are still going on about Weakest Link, but it's just like, Jay, do you remember the Weakest Link? Do you know what we're talking about?
Okay. I remember that. That was big at the same time that Who Wants to Be a Millionaire was big.
Oh my God.
They both first came out at the same time.
It's so crazy how big Regis Philbin was in that show for a while. Like that show was on primetime ABC. You couldn't people were like, do you want to use a lifeline? And they'd say that to you, the bank line. And you just had to live with it yourself. Like you're just like, what the fuck?
But Regis Philbin is one of the best broadcasters America's ever had.
Literally what did that guy do when he was on television for 80 years? He was Joey Bishop's sidekick and then hosted a morning show in New York that he built to a media powerhouse.
Yeah, which is not a small thing with fucking Kathy Lee Gifford weighing you down. Come on, man. She is dead weight. Regis was that show.
I mean, I like that Kathy Lee Gifford just means that we can talk about Frank Gifford, one of the greatest assholes that America has ever produced. And he presided over 0 genocides. You know how fucking hard as an American you got to be on the asshole list and you murdered no brown or black people?
Wait, who's Frank Gifford?
Jay.
I don't know anything about Frank Gifford.
Frank Gifford was Kathy Lee's wife, and he was the host of like Monday Night Football on ABC and like was a kicker and was a notorious human bag of shit. Like a real ass grabber, toxic presence in the workplace. Loved cheating on his wives. Like we're talking, it
Plural.
was his favorite, loved it. Kathy Lee claimed that she was never his mistress, and then I think he was like, she was though, like just an asshole
during a game on TV. She definitely was. Great pass from Montana there.
And would say weird shit in the commentary about black players every once in a while. He has some call about Lawrence Taylor that's something it's not you people, but it's on the verge where you're like, pardon me, Frank. Johnny Carson pulled a gun on him because Frank Gifford was fucking Johnny Carson's wife.
Damn.
Yeah. And Frank Gifford apparently was like, what are you going to do about that? Talk about it on your show? He's just a fucking prick. Then cheated on Kathy Lee a shitload and then made her quit that show because apparently he was like, I was lonely. And that was his official statement. He's just such a bag of shit. Oh, Frank Gifford. What a loser. I'm going to say it right now, except for John Madden, all NFL commentators are bags of shit.
Tony Romo.
Tony Romo's great.
Actually, and Howie Long is amazing, and that other James Brown is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Everyone
what's the guy? Chris Berman.
Oh, no, Chris Berman's a notorious bag of shit from ESPN. You're With Me, Leather? Do you know that story?
No.
Nope.
What?
Okay, You're With Me, Leather is
it's not good. That's a bad 4 words.
It was an insight. I know it's Bill Simmons that broke the story, but supposedly it was the ESPN upfronts in New York, and it may have been Bill Simmons. Someone was talking to a girl in leather pants, this hot girl, and Chris Berman just walked over and went he does overnights. I do prime time. You're With Me, Leather, and then just took her upstairs to her room. Oh, so good. So good.
Is it though? If it works, did he just read the situation right? Would he have read a poem to a different woman?
No, I don't think so.
You're With Me, Leather kind of is a poem.
Yeah, like You're With Me, Leather. It's also just like, fuck you. Let the other guy try and have sex. Don't walk over and mention when your show's on, Chris Berman. But also, Bill Simmons has the last laugh because, like, I hope it was Bill Simmons because Bill Simmons was like, right, go on to create a media empire on the internet that will destroy ESPN.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if what is it called?
The Ringer.
I don't know if it's destroyed ESPN, but like, who the fuck cares about ESPN?
ESPN destroyed itself. The Ringer was just ready to take that throne.
Man, ESPN Sports Center used to be weird. I don't know. Like, I remember just turning it on in like hotels a lot because we didn't have it in the same way in Canada. But like, I remember coming to the States where like I'd watch it with my dad. And Sports Center, like it was the weirdest thing because they like ESPN was big, but they still couldn't get real journalists in the 90s and 2000s. So they'd still be like flustered weirdos. I just remember at one point they were like literally passing a baseball back and forth, like in Anchorman. And then like banana, and you're like, what the fuck? I miss when cable was new because those channels, it just felt like anyone could have a TV show. I
really miss a lack of professionalism on television. I miss it so bad. I think it just adds so much charm to things.
Now it's like when you can see the seams on things.
Yeah. I was watching old episodes of the Red Skelton show because it was on Prime. Do you remember Red Skelton?
I do not.
He was long before our time. It's black and white. And he would do 18-minute sketches.
What?
That are terrible.
That's not a sketch. That's just a pilot.
It's a short play. And it was just like every now and then there'd be a hilarious joke. And the rest of the time, it's him just filling, man. And you can tell they just had too much time. And to watch them try to do that is hilarious.
This is a great both a reference to the to the Simpsons. Pogs are back in Twitch form. Alpha's back in Pog form. Lovely stuff, Alex Watson. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, but it's also like it's crazy. If you watch, there's a clip of Johnny Carson. Who's one of the first people on television in Indiana, and there's just a flower in front of his face because they didn't know how to do it. Jay's just checking his stocks. So
Jay, I had to respond to an urgent message.
It's fine. We take text all the time. What was the message in regarding? Is it a show admin?
It was it's show admin. It's Chirp and Turf admin.
How is that show going, Jay? But for those of you who don't know, there's a wonderful show called Chirp and Turf in Burbank. Is that Burbank?
Yes. Media capital of the world. Burbank, California.
I think one of 5 shows happening regularly in Los Angeles at this point.
Yes. And the cheapest one. We're not charging people $50 per seats.
What are you talking about? People being charged? What show is charging people $50 per seats?
Literally all of the other ones.
Are they paying? People are paying it?
Yeah.
They're charging them $50?
Yeah, I think some of them are charging 25, but yeah, 50 is not uncommon.
Whoa.
Wow. How many people are they getting in on average? Guess
those shows?
Yeah.
I mean, they look full. Ours are, I'll say ours, we cap at 30 and we only charge $10 for tickets because we're not fucking monsters. We're just trying to break even and pay our venue fees and cover our costs. But it looks like, they're full and it's more than 30 based on the pictures I've seen.
Jesus Christ.
I can't speak. I don't do them.
That's a real, that guy with all the hand sanitizer in Texas vibe. That's
what
are you talking about? There's a guy who got all the hand sanitizer in Texas.
Did you not hear about that guy? He spent like 20 grand on hand sanitizer, just bought everything up because he thought it was an investment and he'd sell it at a huge markup. And then the idea of the disease changed and he just had 20 grand worth of fucking hand sanitizer in his house.
That's really good. That's really good stuff. It's also just it's literally just people in LA. Here's the thing with the UK that's been like, it's been really hard this third lockdown. It's like LA's essentially been in lockdown since fucking last year. Like it's never opened up a bit. Yeah. So anything that can kind of happen, people are so excited. Like Jay and I were routinely performing stand-up comedy through a building for most of the autumn.
Yeah, we did all sorts of window spots at the store. until
were you
that
there
went
for the
tits up.
last gasp of that, where we couldn't do the window, so we were in the belly room being videotaped, broadcast down to the parking lot?
I was there for those too.
I really enjoyed that. I also really enjoyed, in the most comedy thing ever, that like 2 audience members, I showed up at like the end of them doing this, and one of the audience members is now having you sign releases, and I'm like, of course, you just show up. This is how show business works, which is if you just show up at one location enough, someone will be like, "You work here, right?" And they're like, no, I was here for the show. And they're like, "Well, you're late because we hired you without telling you 2 days ago. Here are your tasks."
Can you guys tell me about doing stand-up as like a takeout comedy thing? What was this window setup?
Oh yeah, I've never talked about this. Yeah, let's talk
Yeah.
about it.
You never talked about this? Oh yeah, this is fun. Okay, so have you ever been to the Comedy Store here in the U.S.?
I've
Chris?
never been to LA. Well, once to watch The Price is Right when I was 20.
Okay. So the way the Comedy Store in LA is laid out is there is, as you walk onto the property, it's a patio bar, and there's a window up to your left where you can see a little inside one of the showrooms, because there's 3 showrooms at the Comedy Store. So you can see inside, you can watch the audience, and then you can, like, if you get right into the side, you can see whoever's on stage.
Okay.
What was determined to be okay, and basically had a blind eye turned to it by the health department, because it's definitely,
And I believe the sheriff's department.
Yeah, the sheriffs and the health department, they basically eventually were just like, all right. They had people sitting at the bar outside whenever the bars were allowed to be opened up again. And then somebody would go and perform through the window. So you could see them, and you could, if you were performing, you could hear them laughing a little bit because there was a microphone that was placed outside to capture laughs. And you had to, it was weird. Everybody did, like, you know, depending on the night, how many people were there, you do like 5 to 10 minutes. And it was a very strange facsimile of doing stand-up. It was the closest, this is before outdoor shows were really a thing in LA. So it was the closest you were going to get, because it was at least a live audience as opposed to a Zoom show where you have the weird time delay.
Yeah.
But it was,
Woof,
yeah, it
that
was
sounds
it was
bad.
something else.
That sounds.
It was some method job. That's what it was.
Yeah, it was fun.
That's Depression era entertainment. That's fucked
What
up.
was more fun was the fact that you could sit in the back with 10 or 12 people that you hadn't seen in a year and be like, "How are you?" There, a lot of people. I remember showing up a bunch of times. People were always playing Murder or Mafia. Like, people were playing Mafia back there constantly.
Oh yeah. Well, because nobody was hanging out with anybody. This is the first time anybody gets to hang out again.
I literally, like, I hadn't seen Jay Light in a year. He was a handsome boy before, and then he was all slim and trim with like luscious hair. And you're just like, well, someone really deals with the stress of lockdown better than others, don't we, Jay?
I was going to say, John, I thought we had a rule about not bringing handsome people onto the show. This is fucked up. This is not okay.
I'm sorry. It's a problem living in Los Angeles. He's Jay's a bridge troll in this town, but anywhere else, he's an absolute 11. But
there's a market for bridge trolls around here. We need it.
It certainly is. I mean, it's the funny thing about LA in that everyone's like, there's so many pretty people. And I'm like, yeah, on 3 streets. And then the rest of the entire city is just a lot of really wet, sweaty people.
You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah. What was I going to say? So yeah, that was basically it. But what made it much more interesting was there was always 2 audience members. There was a woman who made her money using cameras on her phone to populate her OnlyFans with photos of her bosoms and, I assume, other parts of her body. And then a guy who clearly was going into trouble with his wife because he would just come by himself, sit for the whole show, and leave. And like, people talked to him, and he apparently like lived in the area, and he was like, "Need a reason to be out of the house?" And you're like, "Oh,
oof. Lockdown's hard, man. Lockdown's hard. I get it.
That's hard.
Yeah. You're telling me I had a wife at the beginning of this."
How many window sets did you do when you did them?
Like a shitload. Like, I wasn't going every day because I felt bad, because I'm I wasn't like, I'm not like a paid regular. I wasn't a door guy like you were, but I was doing like 3 or 4 a week. Like I was definitely like, it was also like, it was a reason to leave the house for sure.
Oh,
Like
Jay. Oh, sorry.
Go
Finish
ahead.
that, and then I'll do something new. What were you saying about the window?
I was
thing?
just gonna say like that's about it, but it was one of those things where it was just like it was just nice to be around people. It was nice to sort of like it felt like there was like sort of a bit of a like, yeah, we're all in this together. This is fucking weird, but who gives a hoot? Yeah. What about you? You were doing about the same ratio, I would assume.
Yeah, I went by. I mean, I made it a point to try and go by like twice a week.
Yeah.
And it was good enough for me. You know, like I felt like that was enough to keep me sharp and interested in writing new jokes and trying out stuff. You know, there's some people who are really grinding it out and going every single night that they were open to go do the window spots, and I was just like, that's a little too much for me.
Yeah, it was again. It's everyone did their own thing. It was just one of those things where it's like I also was like, it's not a way to get in with the club. Like it's one of those things where it's like people will remember, but they're not going to remember when things open up. They're not going to remember.
Yeah, the booker was never there.
Yeah.
He never was there. He never gave a shit. The person who was giving the window spots was just doing it to people who paid regulars and development comics got priority.
Yeah.
But there were plenty of people who did spots in those window shows who were not paid regulars or in the development list of the club at all. There are people who would be maybe getting up on the open mic.
Yeah, that would not be appreciated as a presence. Chris, what was your question for young Jay?
I was going to ask Jay what his experience of being a doorman was, because I obviously listened to a shit ton of podcasts, and so I watched the documentary series about the store that came out earlier in the year, and it seems like there was a period where, like, when Mark Maron talks about being a doorman, and he's just like, I just bought cocaine for Sam Kinison, and then he ruined my life. And it seems like there was a period where it was that, and you were basically a mule. And then, and now in the documentary, it seems to have shifted to, they all seem very nice, and it seems like a fine job, and it's not like demeaning. It used to be that you were basically Bill Simmons in that leather story. And now it seemed like it's just like, oh, this is just a rite of passage. Everyone does it. We're having a nice time. What was your experience of it?
So my experience is definitely more in the latter. I came in literally the last couple months I was working at the store was when they started filming the documentary. So all of the door guys who are featured in the documentary are people from my class of door guys.
All right.
And I started working there in 2014. I worked there almost 5 years. Wow. And when I started working there, it was at the very tail end of the real, like, dark ages years of the club. And the guy who was notorious for being the booker for a long time after Mitzi was no longer able to handle booking herself because of how sick she was a guy named Tommy. And I was the last person he hired. I was the last door guy he ever hired. And then after that, he got fired a couple months later for some stuff that I don't really know a whole lot about.
Private chat.
I can tell you what I heard.
Yes, please put it in the private chat. Thank you very much. Gotcha.
Yeah, exact same thing.
Okay.
And
it must be true.
Not as bad as you're thinking, chat.
It's not as
still
bad.
Fireable. Yeah.
It's something that I will say a lot of people at the store working the door also did.
Oh yeah.
But
I've heard so many stories of people engaging in this activity at like a high level, well thought out way.
Yeah. Well, because it's not that difficult to do at the store. But they were looking for a reason to fire him.
Yeah.
Is more so what it was, I would say.
It is not dogging. It is not nonsory. It's not a legend.
It's
great guesses.
Yeah.
And anyway, so they brought in this new booker, this guy Adam. Yeah. And he basically allowed a lot of comics who had bad relationships with Tommy. They had a clean slate. And they started coming back. And that's when, Rogan came back and Joey Diaz and Al Madrigal and all these guys started to come back to the store who Tommy had bad blood with. And then everything changed. It was sold out every night, every show, multiple nights out of the week. And then you just started being able to make a lot of money doing it and getting a fair amount of spots. Like it was pretty, once you're a door guy, you have a little trial period that you go through, but then after that you are added to the development system because they only hire comics who they want to develop.
Great.
And then from there, it's just, they started adding more perks for door guys. Like we eventually got to start cold opening shows. So you do 5 minutes before the show officially starts, and you're getting spots in front of huge, sold out audiences in the main room. The reason I got my first writing job, and because of that, every subsequent writing job I've ever had, was because I had a spot on a show because I had a development spot from being in the development system.
Nice.
It was a sold out show in the main room. So like 350 people. I had a great set, and somebody came up to me afterwards and they were like, "Hey, I'm working on a pilot. I want to hire you because I really liked your set. Do you get in touch with me?" And then from there, that's the kind of shit that it's like,
so great.
That's it.
Awesome.
That's
great.
why you take a job like that, is because the store is the place where you get the stage time, you get the access. And I only quit working there as a door guy because I had to. Like there was no way that I could keep up with the writing work that I was getting and continue to be a door guy.
That's ideal. And they must have been so happy for you that's why you're quitting.
Exactly.
That's great.
And they were like, I remember I was talking to Adam the last night, and he was like, just keep calling in, and the only thing that I do wish, and this is not on me, is that I could be a paid regular by now, but it is what it is,
It's also like the whole thing is taking a year off. You know what I mean? Like it's that thing. And it's also like, I just want to say thank you so much, to Joe Trope, who just gifted a subscription to Caroline Clean to my chat. But it's that thing that the interesting thing about the store is it's so big and the competition is so fierce. Like I was in development and then went to Australia on tour for 3 months, and the booker legitimately forgot who I was. Like a few people were like, well, like you got to get back in there. And I'm like, he forgot who I was. I used my good rec to get in there the first time. I'm not going to do that process again. I'll find another way in and it'll be fine. Like, that's all you got to do.
Exactly.
And it's also like, he's not going to remember me. Literally, like the most famous comedians are calling him being like, can I do 10 at 9:05? And he's like, sorry, someone bigger than you is coming in. Like,
How many is there a cap on paid regular spots, or is it just by feeling and then whoever's in town? Are they like, because there's only so much stage time and so many comics live in LA, are they like, we can have 70 paid regulars and then when someone dies, they're out? No, it's just fucking open season.
There's no cap. Once you're a paid regular, you're always a paid regular.
Wow.
But you do sort of once you're a paid regular, you're at the whim of the booker as far as if you will actually be booked.
Okay.
Because there's a huge crew of guys. This is very inside baseball. I don't know if people care, but there's a huge crew of guys that were Tommy guys at the Comedy Store that then got shifted out when Adam came in and did what someone needed to do, which was so funny, which was it's Los Angeles. They basically needed a club where all of the celebrity comedians could play on a regular basis, where they felt comfortable and catered to. So they did that. With the Comedy Store. And then you like the amount of green rooms I've sat in LA where a guy's like, man, they used to put my name on the billboard, now they're putting up Joey Diaz. And I'm in my head, I'm like, yeah, man, Joey Diaz has a crazy popular podcast and is like people go there.
You're on a show with me.
Yeah, like literally. And I'm like, and we're both here together. Like,
I remember when I first started working at the store, there would be nights where you would know that a show was going to sell out because there would be one person on the lineup. And then after Tommy was ousted and Adam took over, there were nights where if any of like 5 people were on the lineup, it was going to sell out no matter what. And then because it sold out, it would sell out in one room, and then they'd be like, "Oh, well, I got to see a show at the Comedy Store somehow. Maybe Joe Rogan or Joey Diaz will go to this other room." And so those other shows would sell out. And so it just, created this crazy domino effect. That
it was insane.
It was phenomenal.
It was one of those things I was really happy to, because I saw it at like the high dirge, like when it was super cool before it became like when I visited in 2016, when like I went and did the spot before Roast Battles, and like Dennis Rodman heckled me and shit like that.
Oh,
like,
yeah, that's right. You were there the Dennis Rodman night.
Yeah, he heckled me.
My God.
Jay, you would know. Okay, so he heckles me. He comes on stage, grabs me by the neck. All of that sort of stuff happens. He then goes and sits back down with two ladies that may or may not have been working for him at the time. What happened after
temporary
that?
employment?
Because I left to go do another spot because I'm a maniac. And also because I was like, I got to get out of here because Dennis Rodman doesn't want to kill me right now, but he's definitely drunk and on drugs. He may want to kill me right after this.
Oh, dude. I mean, he got on stage again during the roast. I think he was in between the first and second battles. And he was heckling people the whole night. And then he got on stage with Moses. And Moses was talking to him, and the Wave was doing stuff with him. And then he left with his gal pals, and then almost got hit by a car because the girls got into a fight and he wandered into the street.
This is what I've been told, and I'm so happy you confirm this. Which is, they get into a fight. I heard they got into a fight on the stairs of the belly room going down the hallway, the two girls, and Dennis Rodman basically just like, huh? And then just walked out of the club. So basically walked out and just into Sunset Boulevard and
into the street
and just gone.
Yeah. As far as I know, that's what happened. I was
so much better.
He just off into the sunset. Literally.
Such a weirdo.
I mean, yeah.
I have to pee, but I want to tell you guys more Comedy Store stories when I come back.
Go.
I'm just too excited.
Yeah. I love it. Great booking. Great booking.
Thank you.
Jay's great.
Please, please, everyone, subscribe to Jay Light's various social medias and all that sort of stuff. We totally appreciate it.
Yeah.
Also, please join my Discord and Chris's Discord. In theory, I may take tomorrow morning off, or I may do some more Goose Game. I'm really enjoying. I really enjoyed it this morning. Is that roughly when you end? Because that was perfect timing. I literally literally,
that's about it.
I turned you on to check where you were on, and I could see you were like, all right, well, I'm at this time. And I'm like, perfect. And I literally like hit start, sent you in a chat, I'm on. And then you were like, I could,
yeah.
Thank you, Steve.
That's about it. I played Cuphead today. And as soon as I started playing, everyone in the chat was like, why have you done this to yourself? Why the fuck would you play Cuphead? And it's like, because you guys recommended it. You Judases.
Oh yeah, they do this.
Benedict Arnolds.
Fucking Alex gets upset that I'm not good at Untitled Goose Game, and I'm like, I'm not trying to be good at these games.
David Hoare was on there offering all the problems, no solutions.
Yeah, what do you want from me? For fuck's sakes.
Hello, I'm back.
Oh, hello, Jay. Because here's the thing that I really like about, because I was never a door guy, but I have, friends and friendly acquaintances with very much, I think, would be your class of door guys, which is like Fury, Frank, you are sort of the main three I would know. And everyone, all that crew seems very like nice and chill and like not sad. What I worry about now is like, it sort of feels like like there's what I'm trying to say is, has the store always had these hanger-oner people? Because like you go there now and there's like the cool crew that's actually comedians, and then there's these like people where I'm like, please go anywhere else because this isn't the answer.
Yes.
Okay.
That has always been there as long as I've been there, and certainly even longer.
Oh,
than that.
Jay, can you explain what a door guy is? There's people in the chat actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then answer the hanger-on quick, but door guy is probably a better question.
So a door guy at the store it's sort of being a bouncer, sort of. We had actual security guards working there in case there were hecklers. We would call the security guys to boot them from the show. But being a door guy basically means you're literally like you're working the door and either taking account of how many people show up or showing people to their seats. And it's you're basically an usher, with some security.
Yeah, there's
elements.
also a door guy that checks everyone's ID, and there's a door guy watching the parking lot.
Yep, and then there's because the door guy who's in charge of the parking lot is the person who's parking all the comedians' cars, all the paid regular cars.
Is that shit detail, or is that like a golden spot?
It depends on the night. Like if Rogan is coming by, Rogan tips very well. So it's a good spot, but also it can be a real fucking nightmare on busy nights. Like I was never a lot guy. I worked the lot. I covered the lot once for somebody, and I covered on a Saturday, and it was a total disaster. Like the piano player took pictures of me because there was like a line of cars that was like all the way down to Sunset from the parking lot. And he was like, look, it's Jay's first night in the lot. And first and last. And there was you worked the cash register job was also sometimes a door guy.
Okay.
But yeah, it's basically just you're an usher, you're the person who's facilitating getting people to their seats.
And are there other jobs there that are also comics, bartenders, waiters, busboys, and things, or is it exclusively door people?
So door guys are the only people who are hired as comedians. You have to audition on the open mic to be considered for a door guy job. There are other comics who have worked other jobs at the store, but they don't get up on the open mic. They don't get a guaranteed spot. Like if you're a door guy, you are on they call it potluck. You're on the potluck list officially every week. So you're guaranteed a spot every week. You can be on the development system. You can call in to do other development spots. But there's like Punky Johnson, who's on SNL, was a waitress and a bartender before she got, she was there for in a couple of years. And then because she's not a door guy, she wasn't allowed to just be guaranteed to get spots initially. So she had to audition for the booker, who at the time was Tommy, in order to be on the potluck list. And then eventually, she made it, and she was one of the first employees passed to be a paid regular when Adam took over. And, now she's on SNL, and,
nice.
Shit's going great for her. But yeah, it's pretty rare now for a door guy or for a non-door guy to be a comic, just because it's just not how the system works.
Yeah, and they must be pretty annoying. They must be, because at least with the doorman, there's a system where the bartender is just like, hey, what about tonight? How about that would be frustrating. I can see.
Yeah.
It's also like, it's that interesting thing of also being a door guy there. You're around a lot of comedy. Like it's that one thing of by osmosis, you're seeing a lot. You're all kind of around. This is a great question. Do the door guys get paid? I know that they didn't used to get paid the legal wage. Jay, what do they get paid?
We get paid minimum wage now. And then you also get tipped for various things. So, if people like the seats that they get, then they'll usually give you some cash. Is the wink, wink, nudge, nudge way that I can say it.
I really like that you still say we. I think that's great. I think that's fucking great.
We're guys. Once door guy, always a door guy. A little bit.
They absolutely are there. It's the gang within the gang in LA. Like you can kind of see. Like it's fast. I find it utterly fascinating. It's one of those things where it's like I don't want to be a door guy now, but I'm like, oh man, I wish I could have done that when I was like a couple of years into comedy. It would have been really fun, and it's like a nice kind of like bringing together. It's also that thing of Jay. You have writing jobs and a cool apartment and a nice girlfriend. So I'm sure we could also find some real bitter door guys from your time, like a dude who's living with 11 roommates and only makes ramen and is still a door guy.
But that's the thing is like,
although those guys
out of my class of door guys, there's only a couple of guys who are that.
That's pretty good.
Out of, I would say my class is big because we had a lot of door guys get hired because of how busy we got. There were probably like, God, I would say the tail end of my class is really like, there's like a core group of like 20 to 25.
Okay. Wow. That's a really good percentage among comedians that turned out bitter and lost. That's really good.
Out of that, there's maybe like 3 that actively are not doing as well compared to the majority of them. And even then it's still like, all right, you get to open for Pauly Shore. Oh, you landed a pretty big role in a Netflix movie.
All right.
You know, like, so it's not a total wash, but it's also like those comics, some of them you watch and you're like, oh, you're doing the exact same set every week on Potluck, right? And it's only 3 minutes. And also you have a big drinking problem and you don't talk about it. And you doing all right? You sure?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, there's a couple of those guys for sure. I mean, it's an interesting system. What I always found fascinating, and this is how like fucking Clockwork, if someone was a dick. So the story is very much it's a kingdom unto its own.
Mm-hmm.
And I find it a bit intimidating because there are rules. There's just fucking rules. There's 1,000 little kings in the kingdom. You just gotta fucking know where you stand with it. It's fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things is that don't fuck with the door guys.
Yeah.
They think of the door guys as comedians who happen to be wearing a Comedy Store t-shirt. That's how I always thought of it. They're not fucking bouncers. They're not below you. It's same level. In fact, they're above you. Because if you fuck with them, they're going to know within 30 seconds. For example, I was going to do a show with someone else. I'm going to leave the name out of it. And when we walked up...
Private chat.
I don't know if Jay will know. Chris will know exactly who I'm talking about.
Private chat.
We're
going...
Private chat.
Oh yeah, I can see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember, Jay?
I remember this.
There, you were there for the battle. You weren't there for the other show that happened beforehand, where I literally wanted to walk in front of a truck. So we walk up. So you walk up to the Comedy Store, and it's this black building in the middle of Sunset Boulevard. Like and like it's literally, it was Ciro's. It's a mafia club. It has a fucking vibe. The door guy always just goes, check your ID. And by the way, I've seen him ask actual movie stars, I need to see your ID. It's the fucking law in California.
It's how it goes. Have to have an ID to get into the building.
Yeah. Show your fucking ID.
That is good to know. I would not have shown up with an ID when I came out to LA, so I'm very glad to know that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Take out my ID and show it to him. The person I'm with goes, we're on the show. Get out of the way. Literally said, get out of the way. And in that moment, I remember I made eye contact with the door guy. You see how I'm not like and he was like, yeah. And he's like, cool. And I remember because I knew that we communicated. I can't remember which one it was, but he went, cool, thanks, John. And then he turned to him and goes, man, I don't care if you're on the show. You got to show your ID. It's like, oh, come on. And like this whole thing. And I'm like, don't fucking do that. Do you understand? And I'm like, by the time we walk up to the belly room, he's going to be on his radio and they're going to fucking know. Yeah. And I literally, by the time we got to the belly room, I don't know if this is true. I'm reading too much into it, but like 3 door guys said hi to me that were setting up chairs, and then like just looked at the other guy, and then just kept setting up. And I don't know. I may be reading too much into it, but it was like it's so fucking clear. And then also he went on to not have a good battle. That was the other thing, and then that was also brought up. Like I'm like they're gonna remember,
man.
Yeah, it was not a good battle and not a good look for him.
Like it was just like, dude, come on. Like it's also that thing.
It's just some people just aren't, I've had that happen. I had a ex-girlfriend of mine who I found out after the fact.
Jay,
she was going to the door guys, and she was like, just starting out in comedy when we were dating. And then I found out later on, would go to the door guys, and she wouldn't have her ID. And they would be like, well, you have to have your ID. And she would say, I'm Jay Light's girlfriend. Don't you know who I am? I'm Jay Light's girlfriend. I'll tell him to come here right now. And they'd be like, no, just get on. And then I didn't find out about that until after we had broken up.
Is she still
doing that?
Is she still doing comedy in LA?
Yes.
Put it in the fucking private chat right now, Jay.
Private chat. But yeah.
Oh, I know her.
Yes.
I don't know her.
I've seen her at the store.
Yes.
Oh.
That's
a fascinating return to the scene of the crime.
Well, it's one of those where like she's sort of in the like the in between of like people who are in and people who are hanging on, where like she's there, right? But she's not in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an active fear of mine. I'm very careful with that place in particular, speaking for myself. Of like, I have friends that have worked there. I have performed there, but I will only go hang out if one of my friends who is a in person is there. But like, I won't just go and hang out because it feels fucking like we were talking about before. There's certain parties you get invited to that you don't go because it's not going to be fun. It's not fun for me to just sort of stand in the corner of the patio.
Exactly how I feel.
It stinks of desperation to be like, I'm just going to physically be here, and then maybe they'll invite me over to the cool table.
Yeah, it's like,
Jesus Christ,
like,
man, stay home.
Well, that's especially because like I think to some degree that's an artifact of the way the store used to be, which was you had to hang out a lot, and the booker would know who you are by hanging out. Because the store used to not be sold out every night of the week, and you used to be able to actually get FaceTime with the booker, and they'd be outside smoking weed and see this person and be like, oh yeah, this is you're a comic, right? Hey, I'd come by, I'll get you up on potluck. Maybe we'll get you an audition or something. And now, there are still a lot of comics who hang out at the store. And I think they're doing it just to, maybe they'll get some spot on a show with like an independent booker who runs some show in the belly room or the main room. But they're not in at the Comedy Store. And they're in all likelihood by doing that, not going to get in at the Comedy Store because they're not, because the booker probably doesn't like them. Like I've seen that person who I mentioned before, she showcased for the booker, didn't get put into development after that, didn't have a good set.
Yeah, and still is just there.
Don't hang out.
Like don't there.
What I do find endlessly fascinating,
find a new home.
Endlessly fascinating, is there's two places in the world that feel exactly the same. And it's impossible. The Comedy Store in London, Comedy Store in LA, same vibe, like same weird intimidation off the front, same weird rules. Same group of people that hang out, that are hanger-oner. And by the way, two separate businesses founded by two separate people should not have the same vibe. It's so fucking fascinating.
It's literally like the rules to even such an extreme point. It's like there are places you are not allowed to sit unless you are either an employee or a paid regular. Right. And this is like the classic thing of like, you're a door guy. If you're working in the original room, you have to go to people who are sitting in this certain row of seats, and it's only 5 seats. And if somebody who's not a paid regular, a guest of a paid regular, or an employee sits there, you have to go to that person and you say, hey, I'm so sorry, this seat, you can't sit here. And usually people will be cool about it. But then you'll also run into people who are like, why? What's wrong? Why can't I sit here? I'm a comic.
Oh, Jay, sorry to interrupt. Chris just got rated.
Hello, Jewel Comedy. Thank you so much for rating. Welcome to the stream. We're talking to Jay Light. He's we're talking about the Comedy Store in LA, giving us tons of great stories. So you've picked an awesome night to join in. Thank you so much for the follow, Dante Balakwa.
Yeah,
welcome to the Mystifiers. Chef Samros, welcome.
Follow Chris. Follow me.
Bass.
You can follow
Welcome.
Jake. Are you streaming yourself, or are you just doing it through Pack Theater?
I'm going through Pack, but I host all the stuff I do on Pack. So follow it at what's it called? DI3TJY, I think. But also you can follow me on the regular internet stuff too, and not on Twitch.
Just follow Jay Light. Follow Christopher, Mr. Christopher.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing: is I'd be fascinated. It would be the most uninteresting documentary in the world because it's so niche. But I would love to do someone from the LA store just going to the London Comedy Store because there's just certain vibe things. Like the main one for me. The main one for me is the whatever you fucking do not who the fuck are you to the fucking door guys at either of those institutions because you're now done. Like you're done. Like, do not like know your fucking like nameplate. They don't fuck like.
But that I feel like
where
that's
you
true
are.
for everywhere. You never fuck with the people on the door because they're the only people tied to every single section
But here's the
of
difference:
a business.
is sometimes on both the London Comedy Store and the LA Comedy Store. Sometimes you're like, I do want to fuck with this guy. Like sometimes. That's much more true of the London Comedy Store, where you're like, why are you being an asshole? Like, come on, just you. We've met 100 times.
Yeah, Baldy, you're right. I do need to tell Elliot that a friend of ours tried to fight a bouncer outside a comedy club, and I had to talk him down because you don't fight bouncers, you fucking idiot.
Why? I mean, I've seen plenty of attempted bouncer fights at the Comedy Store.
Oh, I want to hear all of them, and I have.
Oh,
okay,
boy.
I have to pee. I'm gonna pee now.
Okay.
Jay, you start telling Chris stories of the bouncer fights. I'll be back because
Okay.
Chris got raided, so we got to go for a while.
All right. So here's the deal, Chris.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell this first story is my like earliest remembrance of when I was working at the Comedy Store. So they had, because the store was starting to get busier, this was the first time they'd ever hired security people. So we always previously had to be door guys handling stuff ourselves. So what happened was first security guy, this guy named Terrence, tall, jacked, black man, always showed up. He was the one guy they had. And the first night, this is the first story I want to tell. It was a Sunday night, and Sunday nights were easy historically. End of the weekend, nobody's really showing up. It's not that crazy. Store opens up about an hour after the shift starts. I think he was just a homeless guy, came up and started yelling the N-word at our black security guard Terrence, and had to get kicked off the property. So again, that's a bad omen. That's a ferret at the party for
something's in the air. Yeah. That's a ferret at the party. Good callback. Strong work.
Something's in the air. A callback that none of the people who were just rated the channel are going to understand.
Just know that was solid. Everybody that's new to the show.
I know what I'm doing. It's anyway. So something's in the air, right? So something's off. Later on in the night, much, much later, it's like, it's got to be like 1 a.m. at this point, maybe a little earlier than that, maybe like 12:30 a.m.
All right.
It's starting to get down at the part of the show in the original room where there's not a whole lot of people left.
All right.
And so any disruption that's happened, we know what's going on, and they're going to be gone. They're drunk. They're out. Yeah. What happened inside the showroom was there was a couple who threw a drink at another audience member.
Glass and everything, or just
glass
the liquid?
And everything.
Ooh, fucking hell!
Threw the glass at him, missed them, but they get kicked out immediately, and they're outside because you can't have people behaving like that inside the showroom. Yeah, cops have been called. They're hanging out, getting talked to by our security guy and our manager on duty. Then, but keep in mind, these are it's 2 women. It's a lesbian couple.
Okay.
And our one of them,
I sense a hate crime coming.
Well, one of them takes a swing at the security guy.
Oof.
Who is a good, like I said, big jacked dude, about a foot taller than this gal, takes a swing. Jesus. And they both, a fight breaks out in the parking lot. And what happens next? This woman, one of them has to get tackled. What's going on?
Sorry, Jay.
Somebody's
just got raided.
Thank you so much for raiding me, Ruffled Raid. Thank you so much, everybody. Welcome, Raiders. We're talking comedy stories with Jay Light at the LA Comedy Store. Please feel free to fucking subscribe or follow.
Yeah,
I love you all.
Yes.
And follow Jay Light, of course, and follow Chris.
Yes.
Do it.
Stream. Also,
so there, the lot guy working that night gets involved because they need
secondary education. Keep going, Jay.
Nice. So they need more numbers to make sure that everything goes smooth and they can actually kick these girls out. So the lot guy gets involved. Lot guy's a guy who wears glasses. One of the women punches him in the face, breaks his glasses.
That bitch got. That bitch in the lot got is what he got.
And this guy
wear glasses to work. Poindexter, nerd, loser, leaving himself open. Learn to block, you fucking idiot.
Now this guy is a short man. He's like 5 foot, and he is upset. So he uses.
Jay, we got a quick question coming in.
Oh sure.
Was it you?
It was not me. I was working the back door. I was not involved. Unfortunately. Fortunately, I was able to watch and pay attention to all this.
Better, much better.
So they are, the security guy picks up one of the women, has her in a bear hug. She's like up kicking, trying to kick in the air. The guy whose glasses are broken now picks up the other woman, body slams her against the wall.
Ooh.
Just to get her to, like, I don't know, pay up for the glasses or something. And it takes them 20 minutes to carry them all the way out to the front parking lot. Cops have been called. Cops have not shown up. Cops show up eventually after about half an hour. The girls are gone. They have yelled a bunch of swears and slurs at people, and they're leaving. And then the cops show up, and the cops get to the girls first. And they're like, what's going on? They're like, they kicked us out for no reason. Blah, blah, blah. This is bad.
I did nothing wrong.
I don't want to hear your story. I have never in my life, I don't know how these people think businesses work, but the key to most businesses is keeping the customer within the business.
Yeah.
Hang on. Yeah, very important. And so I never understand when people are like, we did nothing wrong and they just kicked us out. It's like, that's no, you definitely did something wrong. 100% you did. Go ahead, Jay. I just can't believe when people do that shit.
So then the cops show up. The cops are talking to these gals, and they come up and then talk to the security guy. Because he's the only employee who's out front at this point who's like an authority figure.
Yeah.
Comes up, talk to him. And he's like, no, we just kicked these girls out. They were drunk. They were throwing glasses at customers. We have to remove them. Then
I missed such a good story. They were throwing glasses at customers.
Yes.
What the? Who gets that upset at an Annie Letterman bit that they're throwing a fucking tumbler at a fucking waiter?
Oh man, 2 lesbians, I guess, in this context. A drunk lesbian couple.
Wait,
so then,
who was on stage? Because there's a couple of people I'm thinking honestly, would be really anti-lesbian.
I mean, it might have been Annie Letterman. I don't think it was, but it was in the late enough range where it was probably like Annie Letterman or like Jeff Richards or somebody who's in the 12 to 1 o'clock slot, you know? Right. So the woman, one of the women in this couple, as soon as the cop is leaving after he takes the statement, runs back up to the security guard, goes, "Oh, what's that? You're a fucking pussy, aren't you?" And takes another swing at him, but stops right before his face to try and get him to flinch, and he doesn't flinch.
Of course not.
And then they walk away.
Yeah.
And then they get into a fight with more people down the street in front of the hotel that's down the street.
In front of the Ondas?
Again, in front of the Ondas. Yeah.
Okay, but then hang on. If it's in front of the Ondas, I need to paint the picture. It's not down the street. It's literally next door. And if you are stood in front of the building, and you literally look if you're stood out facing this way and you look to your left, all you see is the Ondas sort of open air parking lot lobby. So if they got in front of people there, basically they walk 10 feet and then they're just troublemakers.
Right. And then at this point, so then the cop comes up, puts the girl's hands behind her back.
The cop's still there?
Right.
The cop was still there. I think the
cop
cop
comes up
left.
And everybody in the patio is watching at this point because this is so entertaining. And everybody, as soon as the cop takes and puts the hands behind her back, we're all clapping and cheering. And then he lets her go. And then she and her girlfriend, wife, whatever, vanish off into the night. Then, no shit, another 15 minutes go by. Then 5 more cop cars show up to the Comedy Store. And they're like, we heard there was an assault happening at the Comedy Store. What's going on? And we're like, you missed all of it. You didn't do your jobs. None of you did your jobs. Whoops.
Ask your friend who let him go. How about that?
Yeah.
Stop bothering
that?
me.
Let's all be honest. All of those cops really like Joe Rogan, and we're waiting. They got. Hey, listen.
All cops are Joe Rogan fans. I heard that on
It's
This
true.
American Life.
On.
They did their research.
It is really weird. Did anyone else enjoy very briefly how Mark Maron tried to like throw some shade towards Joe Rogan on his special, and Joe Rogan was like, "What? I don't care." And I was like, "Yeah, good for you, Joe Rogan." Like clearly, Mark Maron's trying to get something going, and he was just like, "Who? What?"
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm too busy literally having $100 million. So I'll just.
You still hate me from when you were on cocaine, and I.
Sorry, I'm too busy having multiple compounds.
Yeah.
Compounds. What a terrible noun. Oh, the next 20 years are not going to be kind to Joe Rogan. No one that owns a compound ends well.
No, but I disagree. But if you have more than one compound, people just kind of prop you up. Like America in general has many compounds, and the entire world's just kind of like, well, we just need these fucks to keep going now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but compounds are a real industry.
I mean,
all compounds are bastards.
All compounds.
So's Kool-Aid and so's arsenic. Yeah.
Hang on, let's just bringing this up from Baldy. Also, David Hoare has I left a bar when a brawl kicked off and watched as an old man stood amidst the chaos, finishing his pint at the bar. Then suddenly picked up a stool, smashed off some guy's back, then wanged back to his pint while the victim struggled to.
I've seen shit like that.
Perfect crime.
This is another one. I missed this, but I watched the video of it later on. I was working in a different room when it actually went down. Do you know, John? Do you know Feng Chao?
Yeah, I know Feng Chao.
Okay, so Chris Feng Chao is this great door guy, former door guy. He has been let go because he got into a fight with a comic.
I just thought of this. It sounds like a really fun guy. Sorry.
Wait, was this? This wasn't recently. This was a while ago.
This was. I mean, it was before COVID, but it was like right before COVID. He was, I think, the last person to get fired from the Comedy Store.
Woof.
He was like, and once you get fired, you can't come around. You're banned for 6 months. And then you're banned from doing spots for another 6 months on top of that.
No, but he was doing window spots.
Right. But this was like, this is, I guess it was a while ago. I have no sense of time anymore. Whatever. Anyway, Feng Chao is a great dude, guy in his, he's a Chinese immigrant. He's got crazy sleeve tattoos. He was in some sort of a gang back in the day. Right. And he is just like on stage. He's like Chinese Anthony Jeselnik. Okay. And he is also just like the guy you want in your corner. Like he will literally fight for you, as would happen in this story. So, there's a night that comes around. These guys are super coked up in the belly room. They're heckling. They're being loud. They get kicked out. And they start a fight inside the belly room with the security guards who come to kick them out. A fight that breaks out from the belly room, which is upstairs. And they literally crash into the door that leads to the stairs that go outdoors and fall down the stairs.
Whoa.
Toppling down the stairs.
How hard did they hit that door? Because it's a big metal, like,
they hit it right
door.
On the push thing.
Oh, okay.
So it was just like, it was good placement. Yeah. But yeah, they come in and it's, so two guys come toppling down the stairs. Another guy follows them down, followed by our security guard. And then there's one other guy who's with the group, who's not part of the problem, but he's just standing there on the side, like trying to just not be involved, right? Like he's not trying to stop his friends. He's just kind of being like, guys, come on. And
fellas, no. Cocaine, no.
If he steps in, then they beat him up as soon as they leave. That's what they got to take it out somewhere.
So Feng Chao is working the back bar that night. And if you're working back bar, you can very easily run out to the parking lot. Yeah. And he heard there was a fight going on. So he ran out to the back parking lot and sees there are two guys on the ground fighting with security guards and sees the third guy standing by and goes, "That's my guy," and runs over and clotheslines him. And tackles him to the ground.
This is very good,
buddy.
And this guy totally blindsided, didn't see it coming at all, which is great footage, by the way. amazing video. And And yeah, and then there was like a girl who was with their group who got involved in the fight too, and was trying to like, she was like kicking at Feng Chao and kicking the security guards. And I mean, eventually they all got kicked out. But yeah, then I heard about all of that like 20 minutes later because I was in the main room, and so I was on the complete opposite side of the building from where all that was going on.
I mean, you say it's not a big building. Like I'm gonna say you were maybe 10 feet from that, 15.
No, it's big enough.
Where were you in the main room? If you're in the
main room front entrance.
Yes, you are. Then you are further away. Yeah, you are on the other side of the building. But if you're literally like the main room, belly room entrance, like you should have heard the whoosh of a body getting clotheslined.
Oh yeah.
No, so poor Feng Chao thought he was helping.
Right. But, I mean, in his own
way, he
everything.
And lost everything.
But that's not how he got fired.
That's not how he got fired.
No, this is how Feng Chao became bona fide legend at the Comedy Store, is by doing this.
Yeah. No. Okay. There wouldn't. Listen. I'm not in that. I'm not in with the crew. But I do know that. That wouldn't get him fired.
Okay, that's good to know. I thought that was his firing story. I felt very bad for him.
No. He got fired. He got into a fight with a comic. Another door guy, actually. He got into a fight with a door guy in the back bar one night. They were both drunk. Feng Chao regrets going as far as he did with it, but hey, water under the bridge at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun. I mean, I'm so happy. I mean, I really now just want to go do stand-up comedy.
Yeah, fuck, I miss it right now. Oof.
But we can't. Who's on Chips and Turfs tonight?
Trips. Tomorrow, let's see.
Chirps and Turfs.
Who do we have this week? Greg Fitzsimmons.
Hey,
nice.
We have. Oh gosh, I'm actually gonna pull it up right now. I have the event.
Do you stream these shows as well?
No, it's live only. So if any of your audience winds up in Los Angeles and they're looking for something to do outside,
that's me on Jay's character show when I was playing the
Oh, that's what that's from.
Yeah. That was a fun show. How did that Christmas tree taste?
Pretty good, I gotta tell you. Pretty great. Not really.
We have Greg Fitzsimmons, Lori Kilmartin, Omid Singh, and Brian Moses.
Great lineup.
Great lineup. Lori Kilmartin, I would say quietly best comedian in Los Angeles. I'm going to say quietly Lori Kilmartin, best comedian in Los Angeles.
Huh. I love Lori. She's
so fucking good. Like, so good. Like, she has about 10 minutes right now about her mom dying of COVID. It's very good stuff.
I hope she does that at the show.
Oh, that would be God.
Great.
Yeah. Just talking about it, it's just weird when people feel obligated to say my condolences. Like, but it's like, but I don't like some people you don't like, but they still say, you're like, no, I'm not thinking about my dead mom. I'm thinking about how I don't like you. Like, it's just so good.
Man. But yeah, so I'm excited to have that. And then now there's like park shows popping up. You've done the comedy rhetoric shows a little bit, haven't you, John?
We're doing another one next week. There's sort of like 5 or 6. Ocean open mic is coming back. Supposedly. So yeah, there's sort of stuff slowly happening. I don't really know.
The Jungle House show in North Hollywood, which is a backyard show. It's very fun.
What is the Jungle House show? Tell me of that. I'll message you after.
It's a fun show. It's just an outdoor show in a backyard. They were doing it before COVID, and then COVID shut them down. But they do an open mic at the same house on Wednesday nights, and then they do a monthly.
Sweet. Yeah, there's a couple of open mics. There's those Rebel guys. I can't find where they are. I did go to one open mic on a Friday that was just inside, and 3 people weren't wearing masks, and I was just like, no, absolutely not.
No, I used to live by an open mic that was an indoor open mic that was still operating, and I went there a couple times because I was literally just down the street from it when I lived in West Hollywood. And then after that, I was like, do I need to do this?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I'm a pass.
No. I haven't, because of the nature of London, I haven't done one. I haven't done a show since a year ago, 2 days ago.
Wow.
So a year and 2 days it's been since I've done a live show. I've done some Zoom shows, and I do I do the show that I did earlier tonight where I debate with comics, and that's really fun. But yeah, I haven't been on stage in over a year, and it's fucking weird.
Man,
what are you like? Is it coming back? Well, I guess like, are you trying to put stuff in now for like May, June?
No, I don't believe it. I'm gonna go back to Canada once we get our vaccines. We're gonna we're gonna go back there because I think it'll come back sooner and more robustly there. Because I don't think the
it will. I
UK's
think Canada's fucked now.
I've heard the
really?
infrastructure there is terrible for releasing the vaccine right now.
Well, the problem with Canada in terms of the vaccine is this. They're still in like the 80s, the 80-year-olds, and they're staggering it by 4 months. So I'm in the United States. I waited in line. Jay, where are you in terms of getting vaccinated?
Oh, I'm fully vaccinated already.
I'm
got
half
vaccinated a
vaccinated
couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
Nice.
and how did you do it? Did you pre-existing condition or did you wait in line?
No, I had a friend who runs a long-term care facility get allocated extra doses, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to get vaccinated? Because these are going to expire."
Yep.
And I was like, "Yep, I will be over there post haste."
Yeah, like that's my thing. Is I waited in line. I waited 5 hours, and I have half the vaccine, and I'm going to go back and get the other half. Yeah. There, done. Fuck you. Like,
yeah, I mean, I got friends of mine who are literally calling pharmacies at an hour before closing time and saying, "Hey, do you have any extra vaccine doses today?" Yeah. And 3 of them have hit a dose because of that. They got a pretty decent success rate.
That's awesome.
I know like a shitload of people are doing stuff like that.
Well, I've got friends in BC that have gotten there. They're like about our age, and they've gotten theirs through like job necessity. One of them works at a prison, so he had to get it. They were complaining about it, but because I haven't been reading Canadian news, but because they're sort of starting to get it, I was like, oh, things must be all right. But I guess it's a fucking mess.
It's a mess.
Yeah. I was just hanging out with a guy who works in healthcare, but he is Canadian. So he's got like both sides of the story, because he hears his family back in Canada talk about how like his grandmother, who's in her 80s, just got her appointment, but it's not for another month. Yeah. And the infrastructure is just like the rollout is not going anywhere close to where it could be to get the same kind of numbers of people vaccinated that are happening in other countries.
In their defense, didn't Pfizer not deliver a whole shipment of like hundreds of thousands because the United States kept it?
Yeah, because the U.S. was open about this. The U.S. said, we will be keeping... If the president comes in and decides to enact something called like the War Measures Time Act, where it's basically the government can take the means of production over, and all signs pointed to at some point Trump was gonna or Biden would do that. Biden got in and it was one of the first things he did, and it fucked them. But all the other countries, how you skirt that is you just have a factory in your country that makes vaccines, and in Canada they closed that in the 2000s.
Ah, cool. Yeah. Thanks, Harper. You fucking dong bag.
Yeah. Only Squads. Welcome aboard, Only Squads. Hey, Only
Squads.
How about you? Give us a follow, baby.
Yeah. I'm starting to fade because I'm hitting my 5th or 6th hour of streaming today.
I was feeling like it was going to its natural conclusion. Jay, would you like to plug your pluggables, Jay?
Of course. Follow me on the socials at Diet J. It's DIETJAY. And I have an album out called Good Guy with a Gun. That's wherever you listen to music and stream stuff. And a podcast called Blockbusting that John has been a guest on.
I've been a guest on that. This is a great podcast.
Chris, I'd love to have you on sometime.
I'd love to.
I'll hit you a message. It's about movies people hate and why they hate them.
Great.
What movie did we talk about? I remember hating it. I know it was
Warriors of the Storm or something.
Oh my God, we talked about fucking the Warriors of Virtue.
Warriors of Virtue. That's what it is.
Fascinating movie. Oh, it's fucking fascinating. Chris.
I do this. I play games and do crosswords in the afternoon. Then I'm on here with John every night, and every Wednesday at 7:30 I do my Versus show, which Jay, I'd love to have you on for. Sure. So yeah, come on and play. It's so stupid. It's really fun. Right. And so I have the Chris Betts Versus podcast, which is the audio version of the shows that I do on Wednesday. I do an alt rock podcast of the late 90s, early 2000s about the Big Shiny Tunes compilation called the Big Shiny Podcast. Join my Discord. There's probably something else that I'm forgetting, but that's all I can think of right now. So do any of those things. All the links are in the chat.
That's great. Yeah, please join my Discord. Please come to join my podcast, The Rest Review, on Friday. I'm doing new jokes on Zoom. Email John Hastings podcast at gmail.com. Chris has merch. Supposedly.
Oh, yeah, I've got merch. Yeah, I got T-shirts. It's about how you're not a fan of John's, you're a fan of mine.
Yeah, it's very
So
important.
get it.
Oh yeah, and I'm doing a Zoom gig on March 20th, and I'll be doing a Greg Houston's gig on Friday, which I always forget.
Love Greg Houston.
Nice.
He's a lovely man. How do you know Greg?
Guy.
Greg
We met in
Houston?
Edinburgh.
You did meet in Edinburgh. Jay was in Edinburgh. I wanted to talk about Edinburgh with Jay because Jay had such a good attitude towards it. Team bets.
Man,
Team
that
bets.
just means I have to come on and do another episode, and we'll chat.
Yeah, you're
more about
welcome
that.
anytime.
Yeah.
This was so fun. Thank
Yeah,
you
this
so
was
much
great.
for lending us your time, Jay. Jay was in Edinburgh. Please support Jay and everything. And also go support the Pack Theater. Jay does a great character show there. Alex went and watched it. It was very fun.
Yeah. I do. Yeah, I do that show, and then I do another show at the Pack called The Discomfort Zone, which is just people calling in to win prizes. It's a game show based on your own uncomfortable, terrible stories from your life. We've got all sorts of people. We had people talk about doing blackface. We had people talk about getting into arguments with their dad about denying the Holocaust. It's been crazy. The stuff that people tell us is remarkable. So
Awesome.
Call in and hang out.
Heck yeah. Now we're going to raid. We need a raid message. We're going to raid Gareth again because Gareth's still going on his
Twitchiversary.
his Twitchiversary.
Good old Gareth.
How do you spell Gareth? Yeah, Gareth. Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much for following. Much obliged, Cordy Glasgow.
Someone give me his Twitch name and
Yeah, I'll get it right now. I think it's just his name. I think it's just Gareth Wall.
what is our raid message going to be? Jay, you're the guest. You can select.
What is the raid message going to be? Oh geez, I don't know. I don't know how raids work on Twitch.
Never punch a bouncer.
Never punch a bouncer. There you go.
Yes.
Good.
All right. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Never punch a bouncer is the raid message.
Thank you so much to
Thanks,
Jay
everybody.
Light for being a part of this raid. I mean,
Absolute
fuck
delight.
you. Fuck you,
delight.
Twitch.
And rated.
I'm not done. Paste.
This is what I love about Twitch is it's like, hey, thanks everybody, good night. And then we're just old men. How do we
It's so unfun. It's the lamest thing in the world because you're like, how do I? Oh yeah, that's how we do it. So fucking lame. All right, I'll turn this off.